Let's go. It's Monday. We're going to the Adams stand-up teaching class. Let's get it. Come on. Let's go. Let's get it. This is the last week of the spiritual side of the game. We've been going for a month straight. It's been 4 weeks we've been going with the spiritual side of the game. And we're going to change the subject. And going to something else. Side of the game, let me know in the chat room if you enjoyed the spiritual side of the game, all that has been exposed and been revealed. We talked about the spiritual side of the game. Let us know. Salute to the thinking class. Salute to Dre. Salute to Joe Blast. Salute to Sigma. Salute to the people who are watching in the clouds. I see you. Let's get it. So definitely, this is the spiritual side of the game. We definitely want to get it going. Let's get it going and start. Let's get the lines up. Come on, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. It is Monday. It's Monday. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Get it. Monday. So much to talk about, so many things to go over. Let's get it. If you enjoyed the spiritual side of the game, let me know in the chat room. Because we definitely want to change the corner from there. What's going on? I see everybody in there. It's the anthem right here. Let's get it. Let's go. This is Lawrence D. Adams, and we're about to start right now. Let me get started. Get my camera up there. Let's get it going here. What's going on? What's going on, Trav? What's going on? We're still on the 4th week of the spiritual side of the game. And one of the things I'm going to talk about this week, we're going to sort of go in on with the spiritual side of the game. I want you guys to really get is that we've covered. And when we talk about game, I know I repeat myself because I want you to get it for those who are watching and who's tuning in. Oh, and a shout out tomorrow at 10 o'clock Eastern time, I will be on Mr. 1950, chopping it up with him. Mr. 1950 channel, chopping game up with him tomorrow night at 10 p.m. Eastern time. And that's going to be 7 o'clock Pacific time. So the spiritual side of the game, you're right. The thinking class has been a series that has brought thinking class to the next level. Good. So today we're just talking about, I'm not going to recap everything about the spiritual side of the game, but I want you to understand when we talk about game, we're talking about strategy. And when we're talking about game, we're talking about that it solves problems. And so the spiritual side of the game is when you tap into the what? When you tap into the source that's bigger than you. And we realize that the spiritual side of the game is one of the most important side of the game and the most neglected side of the game. And when you tap into the spiritual side of the game, you get information, you know things. As you see what happened when we were tapping to the spiritual side of the game, things started happening, the spirit started moving, and things were revealed. People's fathers and situations came back. Fierce soul father, grandfather showed through in David. And it just was amazing how all that took place, the spiritual side of the game. So, but this is the part that you got to understand. None of this game will work, as we know, as we say over here, if you do not move your, no game is worth getting if you don't move your, no game is worth getting if you don't move your, it is your, if you pave in the circle and it's your own ass fault. So you got to understand you are responsible when it comes down to you connecting with this game and you put into practice. That's why we have Fridays. That's why we have Fridays. Good. Salute. More. Ooh, you got to move your right. Salute, Jonathan. You got to move your what? Yup. You got to move. Most guys just want the game and want to digest it, but they don't want to move their. You got to move your asphalt. You got to do that. That's the part of the game that most people do not want to do. But let's go a little bit further. Shout out, today is Alfie Kingdom's birthday. Let's give him a salute today. Today is Alfie Kingdom's birthday. Shout out to him. Shout out to Alfie Kingdom, and today is his birthday. You have to put in the work. You got to move your ASS. You got to move your assets. So let's talk about that a little bit. I know I'm starting a little early. I'm starting about it right on time. So the spiritual side of the game is so important because it gives you information, taps you in. It improves your game when you dealing with women, and women when you're dealing with men. You got to have that spiritual side of the game. But one of the things that I think we need to really tap in as far as with the spiritual side of the game, we talk about the money side, because I think one thing when we talk about the money, you think we're just talking dollars and cents, but there's a spiritual side to the money. Let me say that again. When you realize that money is spirit and that is just energy, you would just begin to move energy from one place to the next. But the spiritual side of the game is one of the most important things that is out there. If you can tap into the spiritual side of the game, and when we say game, we're not talking about manipulating people. We're not talking about taking advantage of people. We're talking about when it's a win-win situation with both people, with both individuals, and for you to advance as a person. And what we have not seen talked about a lot over here is men tapping into the spiritual side of who they are. I didn't say religion. Your religion is your choice. Your spirituality is your connection with God. Let me say that again. Your religion is your choice. Your spiritual connection is your connection with God. Let me say that again. Your religion is your choice. Your means to get to God, but your spiritual connection has nothing to, your spirituality has nothing to, they're two separate things. And I know we like to merge them together, but they're two separate things. I have to say that because I think so many people get mixed up, and you can be going to church, to the mosque, to the temple, wherever it is, but you have no spiritual connection. You can be going to the church, the mosque, whatever, temple, whatever the case may be, but you have no spiritual connection. That part of you is not even connected. You're not even on dial-up, let alone high-speed 5G. So you can have all that, but if you don't have no spiritual connection, guess what's going to happen? All you're doing is going through ceremonies and symbolic things that make you feel good, like you have a connection, and you really don't. So that's why it's so important to understand the spiritual side of the game. And because this is a men's channel, it is imperative that men actually have the spiritual connection in place. See, when you are plugged in as a man, it's easy for you to get her plugged in. When you are plugged in spiritually, it's easy for you to what? Plug her in. And every woman, whether they want to admit it or not, wants a man who can teach them on multiple levels and especially about the spiritual side of life. Every woman wants a man who can teach them about life, but also about the spiritual side of things. Thank you, True Easy, for the Cash App. I appreciate that. They want the spirit. They want to see when you tap into the spiritual side of you, man, it's easy for you to tap into the spiritual side of her. And when you're able to do that and you get her connected because you're connected, you have something that no other man can give her. Yes, she can get the D. Yes, she can get the emotional side. But when you connect her to her spirit and she's connected, it takes everything to another level. But most people are only focusing on the physical. And when you're just focusing on the physical, you miss the what? The emotional, the mental, and the spiritual. That's why it's imperative that you get this spiritual side of the game to plug her in. We need to probably start talking about the emotional side of the game. Because a lot of you guys don't understand the emotional side of the game. Correct. That's it. Most men know everything. Most men must know that everything starts with us. What's going on, John? You hear me? So yeah, so it's imperative that you understand you as a man must, because this is recharging man, and you as a man must be connected spiritually.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. You as a man must be connected spiritually. If the thing of it is, most people think they're connected spiritually because they go to church, mosque, temple, wherever the case may be, but they forget that their spiritual connection is lacking. So the spiritual side of the game, when it comes to dealing with a woman, man, is not there. I can hear you now.
Jumped in, so.
Huh?
I just jumped in, so I'm catching up in the conversation.
Okay. So pretty much I'm just sort of recapping. This is week 4. Can you believe it? Week 4 of the spiritual side of the game.
Wow.
Week 4. And I just thought about what was yesterday. Yesterday, and I got on, I didn't think about it. Yesterday was Pentecost.
Yeah. A lot of people's wearing red.
And the week before that was the end of Ramadan.
Mm-hmm. A lot of spiritual change over.
Wow, ain't that something? People didn't catch that. I think the week before then was the end of Ramadan, and then we come to the next week. It's the end. It comes to the to Pentecost. So it's a lot of spiritual. What you say? A lot of spiritual what changes taking places? A lot of people getting renewed.
Exactly, and you got to think about it like. We physically celebrate the new year in January, but a lot of the new years come with the new seasons. And what happens is the changeover to spring, which is our, I don't want to get all astrological or whatever, but there was a changeover in the spring, which kicked off that season. Okay, so that was the end of March. And now we're literally getting to the end of the second season, which is literally in about 30 days. So the changeover spiritually is happening because there's a actual seasonal change coming as well.
And dude, I'm honest to God, the Lord is my witness. I had no clue that when we started the first week that this is what we were walking down towards. Mm-hmm. I had no clue. I never thought about it. As far as what this, how the spiritual side of the game was walking down the same path as the Ramadan and even walk down to Pentecost.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it was a summer. It's no, not the summer. So what is it called? The summer solstice or spring?
Summer. It's the spring equinox and the summer solstice.
Okay. So it's crazy that we as a channel have been walking down, moving us into that same space spiritually, not even knowing and talking about the spiritual side of the game and getting you connected spiritually. And actually during that time, there's a lot of fasting that going on. There's a lot of reflection, a lot of meditation. There's a lot of things that you're giving up, things that you're going within to look in during this time or during the end of this time. That's why there was a celebration on Friday where we just play hip hop music. I didn't even think about it. When you come to the end of something, what do you do? If you come to the end of a season, there should be some celebration.
Right. It's the acknowledgement. The
Right.
celebration is really the acknowledgement. We call it a celebration because we want to be happy, but it's really about bringing closure or coming to closure.
And it was so random, man. It was so random.
I felt like we had a party online.
Right. And I didn't think about that. It's the like you said, it's the closure that took place, even talking about the spiritual side of the game. So right now I think this week this is it this week.
Yeah.
There's nothing else to say about the spiritual side of the game, but to recap and to maybe go a little bit deeper on some other things, but there's nothing else because it's funny how we walk the journey that way.
Yeah. I mean, I got to tell you, I know that the Bible and other, books of sacred law all talk about, taking a period to reflect. A lot of places call it fasting. A lot of situations will call it like just basically meditation or reflection. I personally went on, I would say, like a fast of some sort where I decided I'm just not going to do my normal pattern over the last, I think, about 10 days now. And I felt like I went through a great enlightenment because some of the things that I was going through, sometimes you, like I said, you're forced to do certain things or forced into certain actions so that you can learn about what's the lesson of that particular season, right? So I realized that what I was going through, especially when, not so much of a famine, because when God takes care of you in other ways, sometimes you don't need the resources you had before to do certain things. So I'm not gonna say I had a famine. I just had to look at things a little differently over the last 10 days. And what I realized is that sometimes, and this I've heard this from prophets, I've heard this from other pastors, head leaders of the church. They say, listen, sometimes you're being sat down so that you can learn, or sat down so that you can reflect on what you're supposed to be actually making a priority in that season. And I have to respect that. I have to give honor to my creator, give honor to my situation, because I was given an opportunity to reflect. And that's what happens in the game. What happens in the spiritual side of the game, you are forced sometimes to reflect, even when your physical is forcing you to go and go and go and go and go. Sometimes a slight sickness will put you down and you'll be sitting there like, oh, well, I don't feel that great today. Cancel. I don't have a great, I don't feel like getting out of the house or whatever, but you feel like, well, why? This don't just feel like a physical sickness. This feels like a reflection period on something I'm supposed to be concentrating on internally. And you have to recognize that. You have to put yourself in a position that the spirit is trying to tell you, sit down, take a break, think about what you're going through, think about your situation, and then move forward cautiously, because there's no mistakes in the universe. If you don't, come on, we're in the middle of a pandemic. I'm staying home all the time. There's no reason for me to get physically sick for any reason, right? I haven't gotten the Rona. I haven't gotten a cold. I haven't gotten the flu in over a year. All of a sudden, I got like put down for some, really, really simple stuff. And I'm thinking, having all kinds of respiratory every time, all kinds of whatever. I didn't get it. I was tested not negative for that. So what could it have been? No, that was the spirit telling you, sit down and wait for a minute. Sit down and reflect. There's something that's not right in your current path, and you need to take a break. It affected, and I'm gonna tell you, I'm not speaking facetiously. At first, it took me health wise, then it tried to take me monetarily,
Mm.
and I started saying, you know what? I'm not gonna let that slow me down. I'm gonna create other ways. And you saw, I showed you, right?
Mhm.
Even though there was a little bit of a lack, I still was creating in other ways. And I just want to, without giving out too information, thank you for your participation as well, because it was part of that process. You see what I'm saying? We have to, when you are redirected or pivoted in a certain way, it's because you're supposed to pay attention and figure out what is the answer in that particular test. Okay. And I was tested on 2 fronts in the last 10 days. I consider it a reflection period, a chance to meditate, a chance to go within, find out what's going on. And if you start creating value during that period and you start lining up the ducks for your next season during that period, that's why you were put through that period. The spirit was putting you through that period so you can get to the next level.
That is so true, because if you do not take that break, the break will take you.
Yeah.
I know firsthand.
Like you can look at the pad and say, wait a minute, all my ducks is in a row. I don't have to go out of town. I don't have any clients telling me to go anywhere. I don't have to do any deadlines. All of a sudden, my schedule's freed up. And then, boom, something filled its space because I didn't plan for that time. So time planned for me. You get it?
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to my brother on Saturday. He was in the hospital with my nephew. And he said, he runs a studio. Saturday night, the studios are packed with clients trying to record and everything. He said, I just so happened to take this time off. And all of a sudden, my son had to go to the hospital. And I'm like, see that? He said, see what I get for taking a day off?
Mm.
And you know what? He's not naive to that. He's actually extremely tuned in to what the spirit was trying to do. You didn't plan for anything for your day off, so I'm going to put something in there to make sure your day is filled. Now, I'm not saying I don't wish any ailment on anybody, but you got to look at the spirit. The spirit is saying, I'll make room for this particular thing to get addressed at this time. Because we don't know down the road how bad things would have gotten.
Right, if have not taken a break.
So it reared its head at that moment. He had to go to the hospital, take care of that situation, which it had a resolve, it had a solution, and now he's back home. Who's to say when you're a very busy person working 80, 90 hours an hour that you'd have 3 hours to take somebody to the hospital and not miss a beat in your operation? The universe afforded him that time. The spirit afforded him that time to do that at that moment. Mm-hmm. And that's why you got to look at it sometimes. Remember when you was talking about, you were dealing with another situation, but you had a death in the family, or you're dealing with a situation and you had to deal with a family member that had an opinion about something, and they respected your time for something else. The universe will make time for you to deal with things because you find it as a priority to get to the answer, to get to the success.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly what happened. And even with the situation where you were there when I lost my voice.
Yeah,
I did not take time.
Yeah, there's no mistakes in the universe. Mm-hmm. It happened to me the same day. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
Happened to me the same day. I started choking up too. Like, wait, what's going on? It's because we're not playing with something here that's facetious. We're not playing with something here that is supposed to be, this is a law. It's a spiritual law. And we're trying to adapt you to using the spirit the right way. And we are ambassadors to that effort. Okay. And we are not the only level. Okay. There's many levels you can go. We've read through, I would say in my lifetime, at least 100 books showing this done on the methodology becoming very, very clear and plain. But I had to get to that point to get there. And I believe that we are the ambassadors to get people to the starting point so that they can go and explore in the spiritual realm and get the results they're looking for.
That's the truth, man, because people don't realize for years I read tons. I'm looking at books now of spiritual books. Mm-hmm. When I mean tons, online, offline, I have a library. I gutted one library and got rid of it and then rebuilt it back up. And so what you're seeing here, even when we talk about the spiritual side of the game, we're giving you information that's been studied, but also we're giving you information that has been lived.
Absolutely.
It has lived.
I truly believe this, LDA, from the bottom of my heart. I truly believe that there's no mistake here, okay? For the last 3 weeks straight, we've been dealing with the spirit. But all of a sudden, in the last 10 days, I was put on a spiritual journey, okay? It involved the sickness, it involved the money, it involved a few things. And I came out on top, and I felt like it all was coming to some culmination. And I'm going to tell you what it is. I think it's about being aware. I honestly think that we have to show everyone here how to be aware of the signs when spirit is trying to intervene, stand in the gap, and show you something that you were not paying attention to. Maybe the trajectory was wrong. Maybe your planning was wrong, and you need to be sat down so that you can redefine your trajectory in a new direction. When I say maybe, it's if you recognize it, okay? Right. Being aware means you recognize the change and can pivot. And all the lessons we talked about up to this point show us this. But if you just want to be blind to it, then don't pay attention to it. It's not for you. But for me, I'm telling you, I felt like it's for me.
Right.
I knew this pivot was for me. I knew that when you sit there and your bank account is going in the right direction, it starts going up, and you didn't actually put an effort to get more money in there, and then you actually see where things have dried up, and you thought it was supposed to be as valuable as it is, but somehow the universe sustains you with those things gone. You have to pay attention. You have to be aware that something's supposed to change right now. There's something coming for you. Maybe you don't know how to close the door. Maybe you don't know how to walk out of an old situation. But you know what? If the universe forces you to do it and sustains you in that period, the new day is coming. The new season is coming. Maybe you didn't recognize the harvest was there, but the new season's coming, and you just have to take the ride.
That's right.
Fight it. If you fight it, then it's going to go against you, and it's going to doom you to repeat it and doom you to go back in the same old ways. But if you don't fight it and you recognize it, this is what I'm saying. Are you aware of what the spirit is trying to do when change is coming? Then you will have the victory. You will have the success of the new day and not the old day.
Right. Because there has been, when you said all that, I kept hearing one word: cleansing.
Yeah.
It's a mental, if you really pay attention to what we've been doing, you look at the shows, you realize we've been getting you to a point, like you said, of a mental, emotional, and spiritual cleansing.
I put milestones even in the goal setting because I figured, I don't want to end the old action that sat me down for that moment. But I want to know when to go back in if it is just seasonal.
Mm-hmm.
You want to hear something crazy? Mm-hmm. I got the sign. I said, you know what, universe? You're all powerful. Show me a sign. Show me a sign when. And as I was doing some programming this morning, I was looking at a plugin. And you know how sometimes they say, oh, you want to update this plugin or blah, blah, blah. And as soon as I asked the question, no BS, LDA. As soon as I asked the question, I looked at one of the plugins. I know it's going to be hard to tie this together, but you got to be in the programming. I said, show me a sign of when I'm supposed to get back in, because I had gotten a text message from the same avenue and something was telling me maybe it's not the right time to go back in, even though the person called me. All of a sudden, I looked in the program. The program said, "Do you want to update?" And it had a button on the right that said, "Not now."
Wow. See?
I'm sitting there like, I got the phone call, and then I looked up on the screen and said, "Not now."
See?
And I'm sitting there like, you got to recognize. Are you aware of what the universe tries to tell you?
Right.
And this is not superstition, okay? It's about recognizing the signs and then going with it. Because you know what? You created the day. I created it. That's the reason why it's playing out this way. I'm not afraid of what I see. Superstition means you're afraid of what you create.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Superstition is I set up a set of rules that is starting to play out, and now I'm scared of it. That's what superstition is. Are you scared of your own playbook? You made this up. You attracted those people. Why do you keep getting the same result? Because you attracted those people, and then you're getting the same result. Now you're mad when the universe says, stop running around in a circle. Get back in the game under a new set of rules, under a new set of situations, so you can have the victory. And when you keep repeating yourself, sometimes you got to get taken out so you can reflect, rebuild, and get back in properly and not on the same track.
That's it. That's it. Definitely it, man. Definitely it. Like I said, you were there when I lost my voice. I couldn't barely talk. Couldn't talk. But now, look where we're at now.
Absolutely. We enhance our quality. Something told me to work on my broadcast. I don't know why. There was nothing wrong. But I was trying to figure out some other things. Something keeps telling me, I'm going to be doing this from a car. I'm going to be doing this from a hotel room. I'm watching certain people who have an alternate setup, like Kevin Samuels. May not agree with all his old message, but I like his setup, okay? His setup has a way to be where he's at, and then when he's on the road, he can continue and have pretty much the same look. I like that particular setup. And guess what? I consider it, since he's got probably close to 1 million, if not 1 million or more subscribers, you should follow people that have a success level that you're looking for.
That's right. Whoa. We got to slow that statement down. So all you butters who've been getting on Kevin's head and saying all these things, you got to understand what just was said. You got to follow a pattern of success of someone who's successful. Learn from them and stop criticizing. The only reason why you're criticizing them, and I'm saying it to whoever needs to hear this, the only reason why you criticize, you may not like what he say, or if it's someone else, is because it's showing light of what the hell you're not doing and what you should be doing. And you're mad because the reflection that he's giving off is showing the darkness inside of you.
It's true. And you have to pay respect. Okay. Yeah. You got a channel with X amount of followers. Guess what? I respect you. I don't have nowhere near that many followers because I never put myself out there like that.
That's right.
You've got a platform you've been building for years. That's why you have a faithful set of people that want to hear the word as often as possible. That is something you cannot buy.
Okay.
You cannot buy that.
No.
And Kevin, he struggled for years building his platform, and he just basically pivoted. That's all he did. He pivoted. And what he did was recognize the group he was absorbing. He started repeating back what that group was saying to another group who wasn't listening. That's what he said. If you listen to any interview he does, he says that's exactly what he did to pivot. Now, that's the example I'm looking for. I'm not looking for what's in his message. I'm not looking for how people feel about it. I'm not looking for his delivery, which everybody hates. I'm looking at the method that grew the channel from 450,000 people about 3 months ago to about over 1 million right now. To me, that's a success that needs to be tracked. Somebody needs to analyze that. You can repeat it, get your viral step, get your viral bump. You don't have to be controversial, but if you look at a way to pivot, you can get on the next page. And that's what I'm talking about. When I was sat down, when you get sit down, it's because you're in a repetitious mode, and more than likely you're wasting money and you're wasting time. The universe wants you to have success. So if you are not successful, you got to get on a successful track. So if you're sat down, go back in within and look and see what's going wrong with the process, re-evaluate what's going on, and get back out running in the right direction. Because maybe your pivot's coming. Maybe your viral moment is coming. Maybe your opportunity to succeed is coming, but you're not going to accept it when you're running in a circle.
Because it's your own what? It's your own asphalt.
It's on your own asphalt. On that road you're on.
That's who it is. Somebody is just once, I don't want to say that, got to sound right. Was one click away from what they really need. Dude, this is so real. We were designed. I listened to this weekend. We were never designed to struggle. We were always designed to thrive, but we keep giving ourselves the same story that we must struggle so that we can have the success, and not realizing that the universe wants us to thrive. Because when it thrives, guess what? It pushes us to want more. It gets to that word you said, desire.
Right. Thriving means you're more than good. You know, you say, I'm good. I'm from New York. Everybody say, you good? I'm good. You good? I'm good. That's not just a regular statement. That's for us checking on a few things at the same time to make sure that you are okay. That's what good means.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a second. I'm getting a phone call.
No problem. So yeah, that's why it's so important that you understand what we've been here. This spiritual side of the game, actually, you have gone through a spiritual journey and didn't even know it. Let me say that again. You've been going through a spiritual journey with us and you didn't even know it. So there's been a cleansing that's been going on. There's been a rearranging. There's been dealing with things that have been hidden inside of you. If you pay attention to what's been going on, if you pay attention, the people who got touched or who got special things said to them, it's for you to deal with things that were inside of you so that you can thrive in this season. Please understand where we're getting at. Okay, great. Don't have 100-some people in here. So what? But it's the people who need to hear this. This message is not for everyone. It was never designed that way. And it wasn't until I got okay with that. When I got okay with that, that's when it became okay. So I want you to understand this spiritual side of the game that we're giving that has been going on for these 4 weeks. 4 weeks, same subject matter. Is to get you to the next level. Now, whether you want to admit it or not in the chat room or not, you got to realize during this time here in the spiritual side of the game, it was for you to reflect and to get aware, like John was talking about, for you to get aware of what's going on in your world. Not my world, not Jono's world, not anybody else's world, but what's going on in your world. What's going on in your world? Not the women you want to talk to, men, and not the women, not the men you want to, but what's going on in your world? There's people who have been got released. Remember, we're talking about peace and release. It's to get you aware of what's going on in your world. There are some people who got financially aware of the financially things that have been going on. Yes, it has been self introspection. Yes. Introspection. Yes, it has. Why? Why do you need self introspection? Because of the season that you're about to enter into. If you understand what's about to become upon you in this next season of your life, as a man, as the woman, as the individual that you are, you'll realize like, yo, thank you, LDA. Thank you, Jono, for taking the time to actually talk about the spiritual side of the game. Why? Because it's designed to push you in the right position so that you can succeed. Was it easy? No, it hasn't not been easy. But once you realize that it's something deeper, the spiritual side of the game is not for anyone else. It's for you. Like Jonathan W said in the chat room, it is to get you self-introspection. If you can go within and adjust the furniture, like I say that with people, and sometimes you gotta adjust the furniture inside of you. Sometimes you gotta realize that the seat that you've been sitting on, you gotta throw it out. You got to adjust, you gotta realize it's self-introspection.
I'll tell you this. I made some changes even this weekend because I realized when, like I said, I was taking down 2 roads, reflecting on money and reflecting on health. And I started looking at what was a possibility of a new thing. It wasn't so much about fixing an old problem. I'm not really going to deal with the old things. If the old thing doesn't create value, why you have to revisit it, right? What I realized, we were talking about portability, right? We get into it a little bit. I mean, it's not that complicated for people, right? We're talking about portable setups and how to do the same thing we're doing without having to sit in the same place, right? And I was thinking in my head, like, what was possible in regards to portability? And I think that that's very important when you think about it. Being able to have backup and being able to have redundancy in your environment is super important. Okay. And the only way you're really going to do that is if you are faced with it. Most people don't deal with redundancy until they already lost their primary setup. Okay. They don't deal with redundancy until they have a catastrophic failure in a situation that they consider reliable. Okay. And when you don't realize that things are not just unreliable, that you're trusting them on a shoestring situation, you're going to have a loss in revenue, a loss in time, and a loss in reliability to the situation when you get your first failure. But for me, because of some of the ways that I've been exposed to change and how other clients of mine need to have redundancy and they rely on me, for me, I have to have several backups. I have to have several situations that make me productive. I have to have an ability to literally recreate this outside of this space just in case I'm not available. I could be literally going to another state right now and I couldn't do the broadcast because I didn't have a setup for this. So what I'm trying to tell you is when the universe tells you to approach a situation, it's not so much because it was already a bad situation. Sometimes you're forced to sit down and look at something so that you can plan for a day that is not there yet. Something, and if you have the foresight to do that for other people, the universe will reward you with an opportunity to do it for yourself. And yeah, it may seem like a loss. Yeah, it may seem like a waste of time. It may seem like, wow, I have to be inside and I can't do anything right now. But you're being forced to look at a day that hasn't come yet so you can prepare for that day. Are you ready to prepare for a day that has not come? We've been talking about that for literally 8 days. I'm talking to somebody that does not have all their ducks in a row and they don't even know it. They don't even know it.
There's a lot of quacks going on. There's a lot of quack going on, and the ducks are in a row.
And if you think about it, you're not going to know until it's too late. When you are forced to pivot and when you're forced to stop and slow down and look at something and reflect, it's because there's something in the obvious that you are missing. You've got to pivot. You've got to put yourself in a road where you get the success you actually deserve. Sometimes you're just wasting your time and you don't even know it. And I'm not even being literal. I'm literally trying to be as general as possible because I know this is something that people is having a hard time picking up. You don't know when you're wasting your time, okay? You could be going on the GPS road that they told you to go on, and you know there's a faster way, but you're just following instructions. You're just doing what the universe said to do. You don't know that there's something better for you until you are told to look and figure it out. You have to almost be thankful. Wow, I got the opportunity to fix this. It could have been a whole big mess. But if you don't recognize it, there's the cliff. I see them going over the cliff. I see the whole thing crashing and burning. But you know what? They didn't have the foresight to look at when they were supposed to turn.
Right. We talked about the internal GPS, not the world's GPS, but the internal GPS. I'm going to tell you something I've been looking at. I haven't even told you, Jono, what I've been looking at. I looked at it again this weekend. and I know you know about it. I've looked at several solutions for us with the virtual reality.
Okay.
For us with the thinking class being in a virtual world where people have their avatars that come in. It's just something I, just looked at. And I know that's a whole nother subject matter, but I've been playing around with it because I know no one on this side in this space who's doing it.
Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah.
We need to really look at how, if we can really follow spirit, we would recognize situations like what you just mentioned. When God, when I say God, the creator, the universe, everybody puts you on a road for enlightenment. Okay. That's why I got my light over my head right now. I finally found a good place for it.
Yeah.
When you're put on a road for enlightenment, it's about discovery. It's not about turmoil. It's not about, strife. It's not about stress. It's not about anxiety. It's about enlightenment. It's about taking you down a road to learn. Sometimes you're exposed to something like I watched, you know, the Mevo camera we bought.
Yeah,
There's several broadcasts that they posted from different churches because apparently this is a great camera used in a multicam setup for churches. So you happen to see everybody's different angles, and like what you're talking about with having maybe a virtual world. Sometimes you're watching a broadcast and you see an idea, and you're thinking, "Oh, I could bring this into my idea because I know nobody else is doing this type of thing." The reason why you would even say that is because you can see the cross-platform capabilities of one person's success brought into a whole other category where they're not using it, but they could benefit from it. I built my whole business on it. I worked in the corporate world, and then I could take small businesses, the same solutions that the corporate world had, and find a way to help them save money. I built my whole business on that. Not everybody who's a mom and pop shop can take advantage of the corporate world databases. But what if you could? What
right.
if you had access to it? What if you had access to the analytics? What if you had access to the results? What if you had access to the valuable data that brings people success on a corporate level that they keep all the money and mom and pop and the main street businesses don't ever get? And that's what you're talking about. You're talking about bringing a solution that you recognize could work in this space, but isn't far yet used yet. But if you did bring it in here, what would the success be like? The questions being answered and your curiosity is being looked at, as well as you being enlightened. So why not? Why not?
Right. I just thought about that. And in the chat room, let me know if you guys ever been in was it Second Life?
Oh yeah, Second Life. I love the quality of Second Life.
Anybody know about Second Life? In the chat room, let me know in the chat room what you guys know about Second Life or the virtual reality world, because I think it's something if we can tap in. I'm just talking. Anybody know about Second Life?
You know how much money you made in Second Life? They actually put up real estate in Second Life and sell it.
I know. I seen this young lady I follow on Instagram. She has a virtual mall now,
and they sell real products and get real deliveries and shipments.
Right. In the virtual mall. So
Second Life is, I believe, almost 10 years old now, maybe more.
Right.
It is evolved.
Right. And I thought about that. Why don't we have that kind of space in Second Life?
It's a possibility.
Right. And when I seen she had a virtual mall, I went, a virtual mall? She has a virtual mall. Wow. You're not familiar with Second Life? You're not familiar with the virtual world? Virtual reality? And you can get the Google, and then you can get the, what do you call that? The goggles. And you can actually go into the virtual world and touch and things like that. I played a video game with my sons and my nephew one time. It was crazy. But why couldn't that even be with this space right here?
But there's many platforms. There's Rubella. There's Minecraft. There's Roblox. The kids are in that world. They get to commune online. And then there's different video games like Grand Theft Auto and all the other ones that have a whole virtual world set up to be the real. It's not just fantasy. It's about platform. It's about yourself.
That's it.
In a space where you could feel comfortable at that moment.
That's what I want to give. It is the platform. So imagine this platform crossbreeding, or was a hybrid? What is it called? Not hibernating.
Crossbreeding.
Crossbreeding with these two platforms connecting. So you have an avatar, I have an avatar. Then everyone that comes into the thinking class will come in into the virtual world as their avatar, whatever the case may be. They can come into class. They can do like that. They can build out. Boom, boom. They can have breakout sections. I've been looking, man. And this is just the second time it came and wrecked back around to me. When I seen a young lady with the virtual mall, I went, virtual mall? Interesting.
I mean, you gotta give kudos to the person that took the time to put that platform together, because they had a vision. They were probably in a situation like we're talking about now of discovery and enlightenment, and they took it to the next degree. And they said, listen, I'm gonna make something out of this. It's gonna sound crazy. It's gonna sound like, what are you doing? How is this gonna create money? How is this gonna be of value to me? But guess what? The person ignored all the BS and went and did it. And now you see the finished result of it. And it doesn't matter whether it's successful in your eye or not. It's successful to them because they pursue it. And that's what we have to really put into ourselves. Once we catch the bug or the idea, something like that, why not run with it? You
Mhm.
don't know what the success level is going to be, but you'll never know what it's going to be if you don't try.
Right. Right. And that will be good. Talking about interaction, then you can interact 24 hours a day. And also, wow, think about it. We can bring guests over into the virtual world and stream from the virtual world.
Yeah.
I think companies are doing it. They have their companies to have people who are different in different places. They go into the virtual world and they can have their conferences there.
It's very important. Like I said, there's a reason why I brought up the word aware. Okay, it's very important that you are cognizant and aware of what the universe shows you at a certain point in time. These are not mistakes. These are not whimsical thoughts that just put on a dartboard and hopefully, you pick it back up later. Sometimes you're caught with the bug to literally go forward and take it somewhere and see what it is. So whatever that particular vision was, it can be brought to fruition if you put some time toward it.
Mm-hmm. What's going on, Ms. Right? What's going on? What's going on? I haven't seen you in a minute. What's going on, home girl? So I want you guys to realize, even though we talk about the spiritual side of the game, we also talk, and you realize what we're talking about? We're talking about alignment, introspection, awareness. If you can catch what's been going on for these past 4 weeks, people have been internally aligned. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
What's going on, Raining Woman? What's going on? Okay. So I want you guys to, a lot of people have been aligned. Some people don't even know it. They won't know how much they've been aligned until next week. These 4 weeks. If I want you to write this in the chat room, if you've been listening to the spiritual side of the game, if it's just one broadcast or all of them, has it adjusted you in any way? Has it adjusted you in any way? Have you had what's going on? If you have a new perspective, have you seen things differently? Has the spiritual side of the game done anything for you? I want you to let me know and let us know in the chat room. Has it done anything for you in the chat room? The spiritual side of the game. Yes, but give me some. It's changed this. I'll call it, give me some sentences or a sentence like, hey, I've looked at life differently this way. The spiritual side of the game made me realize that I needed to deal with my issue with my mother, or this. I realized how important the ancestors are. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
When we talk about the ancestors, ain't no way we can talk about. You can't talk about ancestors just anywhere. Yes, it's been connecting. Yes. Okay. How has the spiritual side of the game really connected you, or just like, you know what? I thought it was going to be one thing, but you know what? It caused me to look at life differently in this way. Because we dealt with a lot of things. We dealt with Joe Blast's mother that day. We dealt with David with Fierce Soul. We dealt with someone else was struggling with something else. So how has the spiritual side of the game really, really connected you, did some things for you? Because the reason why I'm asking that, because it's good you can say, yes, it's did this, it's did that, but how did it really affect you? We need to know that what we're doing is having an impact on you.
And the reason why we're putting even through even the exercise of asking again is because this was a specific moment in time. Okay, these last few weeks was a specific moment in time. This was meant to cover many folks at the same time, and we're recognizing that, and we know it's almost like in church when you get a testimony. Like, we know we're going to hear a story back from this. Yo, when you did that series, look at all the things that changed. Look at all the things that was established. We're not afraid of that particular result because we know that's what this was all for.
Mm-hmm. There we go. Now we're getting it good. There we go. Now we're getting synthesis. That's what I want. It has brought me to a deeper understanding of the law of attraction. There we go. It made me realize how important it is to maintain the mediums and actions that center your inner peace and keep your positive in the midst of discord. Good. There you go. She's saying hi to everyone. Okay, here we go. Rain and woman's going on. Spirituality will lead you to always go within and seek knowledge of self. There you go. That's what I'm talking about. And I think that's the part of the spiritual side of the game. One of the parts that we really want you to get to understand why we want you to get this. Because if you can, I remember when I was going to school to be a teacher at Akron University, they said, Mr. Adams, best way we know that you learn it is if you can teach someone else.
That's true.
I said, what? The best way we know that you learn that you were able to comprehend what was said, if you can go back and teach someone else. So that's the reason why I want to hear what you have to say, because if you learn what we talked about, you got the lesson and you don't have to repeat it again come another time. Things manifest real easy. That's true.
And you understand, when we communicate a certain point at this level, it's for this level. When we bring it up again, you'll have the understanding of what we were talking about in that season. So when we show it to you again another way, you know why we then took it to the next level.
Mm-hmm. Rainy Womb says, it gave me space to share and receive spiritual things free of range. Right. Thank you. See, that's what I want to hear. See, what happens is, if you realize what was deposited in these 4 weeks, and I'm not saying that you got to listen to everything that we said, but if you were able to listen to just one broadcast or half a broadcast, it was enough to deposit inside of you some information that already has changed your life. Ray, I'm glad you came to the class. Right. And even Friday, you thought we was having a hip hop party. We were doing some serious work. You thought we was having an old school hip hop party. Friday was, I'm going to use the word. It was so metaphysical, but it was
off the hook.
Yeah.
But it was on point. The point I saw in the whole thing was to bring out some of the inner concealed thoughts about your past, giving celebration to it.
That's right.
Every one of those songs resonated with somebody at a certain time in their life where they felt like things were simpler, things were easier. Maybe it might have been tough for some people too, but you still resonate with the songs as a happy time. And that's what you have to do. You have to go into your own ancestry, your own history, 20, 30, 40 years ago, and figure out where success and happiness really lies. Because right now you might be stuck in a rut. You might be stuck in a routine and stuck in a circle where you built the road and it's your own ass fault. Keep on bringing it up. I know. I'll make the joke tired. But the point is, we are really stuck in a loop that gives us a situation where we can't progress. And there was a time where you were more ambitious. I know in your 20s, a lot of people are more cocky and more like adventurous and blah, blah, blah. It's because you did not want things to stay the same. You did not want things to be stagnant. And some of those songs probably brought you back to a time where you were a little bit more adventurous and fastidious about taking care of your goals. Are you stuck in your own ways now? Maybe not. But you know it's time for change when we bring it up. It's time for change. You've got to move forward.
That's it. It's align and elevate the thinking class as a group of spiritual members. Yeah. And I'm gonna say, I'm gonna address Dre. I'm gonna address that because I'm gonna tell you something. And I think John don't know what, but it was somebody else said it to me. I enjoy seeing the growth of the individuals in the thinking class. A positive community that resonate with you is truly priceless. Let me say this. I'm gonna say something to Dre's thing. Yes, I see the growth as well. It's awesome. I mean, give this Joe Black. It caused me to realize how important it is to be aware of my thoughts, feelings, and attitude towards myself and others. That's what I'm talking about. Let me say this right here. It's align and elevate the thinking class as a group of spiritual members. Now I'm gonna say something, and this gonna be my own ass fault. It's gonna be my own fault. Let me say this. I've been hiding under a bushel or under a lamp the spiritual side of me because I felt and thought it was not needed in this space.
Mm.
So when we begin to, I will bring it out in peaks and spurts here and there, but I didn't know how to bridge the gap between the spiritual side of me and the parts to know game and how to bridge the gap. So what I did was I suffocated, let's put it that way, the spiritual side of me because I didn't know if people would receive it or would they run away from it.
Yeah, you stifled it because you
Yeah.
didn't know if it had a purpose. And guess what? Spirit is everywhere, so it is a purpose. It is the definition of the direction you're trying to go into. We just don't want to acknowledge it sometimes because we don't think people understand it. But you know what? This is the thinking class, right? And if you're part of the thinking class, I think you can handle it. You know why? Because we choose to elevate, and if that elevation is involved in something that takes things on a whole new realm, and we benefit from it, why not?
Right. I'm just being, it's full disclosure. It sharpens and enhances. There's so much effortless love, right? And fun, right? Thank you, LEA, for immersing yourself into the message. Thank you for fully immersing yourself in the message, LDA. I appreciate that. Right. Because the spirit is everywhere. I did not want to do it. Now I bring it up here on the Alfie's channel. It do like this. Go pop. Then I bring it back down. Or I might pop it up over here. But I did not want to bring it up because I wasn't sure that people were going to receive it or be open to it. So I hid it.
Think about it. Even though you felt that hesitation, right? And you felt that strife, right? Something still said, do it, right?
Yep.
Something still said, put yourself out there and see, take a chance and see if it works. And guess what? It's been 4 weeks, almost 4 weeks of beneficial information. And had you had not recognized that that was coming, we would not even be in this position right now.
No. You're doing a great job. People are hungry for this type of knowledge, especially in these unprecedented times. Come on. I'm being, see, sometimes you don't realize that sometimes us as the teachers have to be transparent with those who are the students. Got to be. And I promise you.
We're showing the process. We're showing the process. It's not just about throwing the lessons out there. No, it's about the process. We're showing you our personal journeys. You know, sometimes we're fighting the spirit. Sometimes we're fighting the results. Sometimes we're fighting the repetition. But you know what? If we bring you on that journey, we know that everyone will get elevated because they're going to see the process.
Right. And that's what happened. Think about it. Think about the process. Think about the process. Parts with the other setup with the camera, the computer, everything. The process.
Spirit keeps showing me and showing me. I just got another ding just now. So what I'm thinking would have been dried up in another area. The universe is just like rewarding. It just happened again. The same thing you did on Friday. Look, it just did it again. Out of nowhere, while I'm sitting here right now, which tells me that this is the right thought. Okay? You get rewarded in the direction you're going. It's like breadcrumbs. The universe is trying to lead you breadcrumbs to go down that road. Here's the little reward, $25. Here's a little reward, $50. Here's another reward, $100. It's been happening all weekend. And where I thought was a lack because of, like I said, a physical situation and a monetary situation, I didn't feel the lack. It was all made up. When I say made up in my mind, but it also got made up, meaning it was recovered. It serves both definitions, a double entendre.
Yep.
I made it up. I made up the problem. I made up the solution. Now I made up the money that was lost.
Right.
Triple entendre.
Jonathan W. said, once you create the namesake, the thinking class, the emergence started to take place.
Absolutely. You named it. You called it. What did God do when he created it? He named Adam first, right?
Thinking class. What's up, Ted? What's going on, man? Let me get this one right here. This is good. God's spirit wants the allowance to be free. It desires to be welcomed. When you welcome the presence of God's spirit, he will move in our lives and will be transformed. Come on. We know we passed time. Y'all still now y'all want to go have church now. The real spirit, the real spiritual side of the game. Oh my God. Not everybody going. The truth is LDA is known. The truth is LDA knew it was in you. I felt it the way you stay with the channel from this. You stay with the channel from the start. Dre trying to go in now. I felt the spirit on this channel from a long time ago. I'm happy we reached this point and we are all elevated. Come on. That was definitely your own as for Lawrence. Thank you, Joe Blast. Only Joe Blast can say that. That was definitely your own asphalt, Lawrence. You're shining your light with us has brought that much more out of us. Wow, that is the truth, man. But yeah, I'm just being completely honest, man. I'm like, man, I don't know. I don't think I even told Jono I was wrestling with that. I'm like, man, I don't know, man. Just talking about the spiritual side of thing. I will bring it out because I know spiritual laws. But on the other side, I didn't know how I'm gonna tie this in with game and all this kind of stuff. And what church people gonna say, what the street people gonna say, but I'm street enough, but I'm church enough, I'm spiritual enough. I can go into the temple if I need to. I can go there. I'm telling you, thinking class elevates directly, resonates. Check in. What's going on, Viking Paradigm? What's going on? Asphalt. So y'all gonna keep going with the asphalt. That's gonna be the running thing here. But I have to release that because if we never talk about the spiritual side of the game, it would have been my own asphalt because he was sitting there. And it came to me on a Friday. I think it was a Friday we were doing the end of one series, and guess what? Boom, it came up. The truth of the spiritual side, the truth of spiritual game is the constant struggle to find self-sovereignty within. The Deacon class created a space to cultivate the aspect of ourselves.
They getting it,
man. Man. Now, and then I've got to be. Well, I don't want to say that. If someone else was to do this, I would celebrate them. Let me say it that way, because I was going to say something else. I was about to be real arrogant, but if someone else was doing this, I want to say kudos to them. But there can only be one thinking class.
That's true. Listen, just because I'll say it like this. When you're in a classroom, even in college or even in high school, there's one teacher mostly in a room, but there's many students. So what happens is, at some point, we were students in a classroom, okay, and we picked up a perspective that we can't ignore, and then now we're putting forth our version of it. When you look at the Bible, there's about 50 different versions of the Bible. Somebody took their perspective and turned it into a named version of the Bible, or the version of that vessel of sacred law. And just because we see the message predicate across other platforms, or somebody may use a message that we may find a nugget to reuse over here and expand upon, doesn't mean, once again, that whole copycat type thing. No, we got a lesson a certain way and we're putting it out there. You're going to get this lesson a certain way. And what we hope for you to do is to bring it to the people that you know in the language that you communicated with. We respect the fact that the information has got to get out there. Why not let it happen the way it's supposed to?
Right.
I'm not afraid of letting it happen naturally. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Right. Definitely, man. And something Ramil, shout out to Ramil. I think he's doing a live right now at the same time, but he said something on his live that was pretty good. He says, there's no monopoly on common sense.
I love that.
I said, what? He said there is y'all. Everybody know who Ramil is. Go tell him LDA. Lawrence D. Adams is quoting him. Y'all let Ramil know. He was just on Alfie's channel, I think Thursday night. Let Ramil, shout out to Ramil. He said something. He said, I'm quoting him. There's no monopoly on common sense. Y'all need to go over there and tag him. LDA is quoting you. There is no monopoly on common sense. I took that. I said, I got that nugget. And I'm gonna give a shout out to who said it. But as you know, and I wanted to talk about states today, different states, like frames. You know what I'm talking about, states. Huh?
Technically, we did, but we could keep going tomorrow.
Right. Music ain't playing. Now you don't do this. Don't you do this, music? Don't you do that? I hear the music, but it ain't coming through. We about to fix that. Bluetooth.
I learned so much about what the stuff we're working on right now. I learned so much about the technology and just diving deeper into it this weekend that I'm very excited about some of the changes I'm going to make. I really am, and I'm happy that we picked up the equipment we did. I'm very happy with it.
Man, because I know what I was struggling. I looked like I was a kindergarten. I looked like woo. Shout out to you, Jono, for real, because it was the upgrade. Who's this? Thank you for sharing your creativity with us, LDA. I know as much it took a lot of courage to share certain aspects of your life with others. Ashe. You don't know. You have no clue.
First of all, we had to get through the bad stuff and accept it as a lesson. You know how hard that is? So look in the mirror like, oh, what's wrong with me, man? What's going on? I can't believe things is like this bad, blah, blah, blah. All of a sudden, to come out on the other side and be like, wow, I got here with my shirt on. I literally got here with my shirt on and everything's okay. So the reason why I'm here is supposed to tell somebody the story. It's not supposed to be that I made it. What good was it for the experience if you can't share it? Even God's looking for you to report back your experience. Yeah, he's God, and he made you as God so that when he put you here, you could have the experience and report back. Report back to your people. These are our people in the Thinking Class. We're reporting back. We're telling you what happened.
See, there it is. What did he say right here? There is no monopoly on common sense. Great quote from Ramil. Y'all go to Ramil's channel. This is. I never say go to other people's channel. Y'all go to Ramil's channel and tell him I'm quoting him. Y'all know who Ramil is. Matter of fact, I wish I can get his channel into the chat room. Somebody tag his channel in there. Did I spell it? Yeah. Y'all quote him. I quote him. And there's a reason why I'm saying this. What is Ramil's channel? Godly. Just was on it. He was live too. But it's direct quote from Ramil. Y'all in the space, y'all know who Ramil is. Yeah. There's no monopoly on common sense. Right. We need Thinking Class t-shirts. It's about that time. I'm glad you said that. Facts. I'm forever sharing my tests and testimonies. God's favor favors me. That's it. Yeah, I'm trying to find Ramil's. I just seen him. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You just live, and he goes sporadically. Y'all tag Ramil like, hey, LDA quoting you, man. He was just on Alfie Kingdom's show, so y'all know who he is. Let him know. I think that's the thing I'm going to do. I think that's a good thing. When we quote certain people, let them know we shouting them out over here.
Yeah, I don't have no problem with that. I don't know why that's such a stigmatism. Like, you're supposed to give honor where honor's due.
Yeah, I don't know why. Yeah.
It's like, oh, you copying me. No. I didn't copy you. I quoted you. All right, so be quiet.
Right. I don't know. Somebody put Ramil's channel in there. I'm trying to find it. Ramil, where are you? Or
And the messed up part is people who saying that they copy it never even happened. Like the content even that good. So stop
Right.
thinking it even happen. You ain't that good.
I just let me go to Alfie's channel. That'll be the dude. But yeah, definitely y'all let me know. Y'all Ramil. Where's Ramil? Y'all have been getting it in.
Tell you something. The best people that became the richest people learn how to bring one thing together with another.
Right.
Bezos, Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, all these folks have one thing in common. They know how to bring two good things to make a powerhouse. Okay? They're not afraid of bringing collaborations together. They're not afraid to do it. And when you recognize, when you utilize your ability to bring things together, networking items, networking people, networking ideas, you will become a multi-billionaire because you have the ability to bring forth two things that may not have even been known to be together.
Right. And people were like, what? How did y'all get to ha ha ha? So that's his name.
Some of the best people that make money are negotiators, mergers and acquisitions, managing directors. These people know how to bring a deal to the table and get it done.
Oh, shit.
Why? Because they understand the way the system works.
Look at this. He's on live with Doc Thunder show love after the show. See? Show him, just say LDA, Lawrence D. Adams is showing you love. He's quoting you. There's no monopoly on common sense. Same thing we do with Kevin. Anybody else? Alfie. Y'all go on Alfie, let him know. LDA shouting him out. Today is his birthday. It's your birthday, Alfie. Shout out to you. Gotta drop some love to you. Some pesos. But we out of here, man. It's 1:50, man. I gotta get out of here. I don't know what y'all trying to do to me. Gotta go. Gotta get out of here, man. Y'all trying to make this gonna be my real job. Huh?
It is.
We out here. Peace. Thinking class. You got to move, y'all. Hit it.